I'm going to make a call here real quick. Hello?
Hey there.
Well, hello, Patrick. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I am doing awesome. Chad, how's that sound? Does that sound good? Excellent. Man, it has been an absolutely incredible day. This has been a lot of fun. Let me see if I can get you on the screen here. So, Pat, hey, I know we've got people coming in and out of the stream like all day today. Want to give us a little background on Worldbuilders and like what got you interested in everything?
Oh, absolutely. I hold on. I brought up your stream, and so I could see you here and all of this, but then I got audio and it really disoriented me. Like, of course, can't get both audios. But yeah, in terms of Worldbuilders, it's a charity that I'll be straight up with you. I started accidentally on my blog, like 11 years ago, where I had just got published and I had money for the first time in my life. And I'm like, hey, I had actually just donated to Wisconsin Public Radio. Like I always thought would be fun, but I never did because I never had money. And then I was goofing around on my blog, and I did a photo contest, and I thought maybe some people might submit some photos, and wouldn't that be neat? And if they don't, I will fake up like 10 photos so I don't look like a loser. And then I'll give out prizes and whatever. And like, we got thousands of pictures from like all over the world, and people jumping off rooftops and dressing up and doing Photoshop. And I'm like, oh, wow, a bunch of people read this blog. And then the holidays rolled around, and I'm like, I wonder if I could do a charity. And I said, hey, everyone, I'll match donations for the next month if any of you want to donate to my favorite charity. By the way, it's Heifer International. By the way, here's what they do. And then it spiraled quickly into madness. Instead of, I was kind of hoping to maybe raise $5,000, and we raised 50. And I matched it all, and it used up every bit of my money, and I almost went to tax jail because I was a newly published author who didn't know that they didn't take taxes out of your royalties.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Yeah, like, I've been an idiot from the beginning. So, yeah, that's how Worldbuilders started. It's not, I mean, in some ways, it's not the cleverest of beginnings, but it did show that people really did want to help and do a charity and make the world a better place. I will say, if I jumped onto Skype because it's easy for me, because I just saw you trying to pull up.
We're good. You know what? I just got it there, and boom. I think we're good.
There we go. I love seeing you do it live because I do it live too, and mine is so. And I'm like, God, the real streamers are good at this. Like, the real streamers have instances and whatever, and like everything has a good name. Everything in my OBS is named Image Thing, or there's one that it's literally Big Pat Head. And I'm like, this is dumb. I'm bad at this.
Oh yeah. What we're doing right now. I was messing around with window capture for about the last, solid 5 minutes trying to make it work, and then finally I was like, screw it, monitor capture, and I just shrunk it down to where you are. So, what I'm trying to say is I'm a professional that's been doing this for 7 years, and don't try this at home.
Well, and actually, I'll say, like, I get that because and after, it's weird to think that I've been streaming for like 4 years now, and it started because I'm like, oh, what if I did this for Worldbuilders? Like, maybe I hear this streaming thing is going to be big. And so I jumped in just like with a day's prep, like got a mic, got a camera, like, and just made a mess. But now, like, something goes wrong on my Twitch and I can kind of figure it out in about 4 minutes. I'm not saying I'm good, but I've hit level 1, maybe. Like I have stopped sucking to the degree that I sucked before. It's a little disorienting.
Oh, well, I've been in your streams lately, and they definitely are. They're smooth. I mean, comparatively to a lot of streams I see, like you're able to get through it and do what you want to do, which is good. Yeah, for those asking, twitch.tv/Patrick Rothfuss. We're linking the channel like crazy in chat. Definitely toss him a follow. He does all sorts of Q&As, plays games every so often. He's been doing charity events lately. They're all a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah. I wondered what was missing here, and it's the fact that I didn't have your chat open.
Oh yeah.
But so yeah, like I'll talk a mile about Worldbuilders or about Heifer, honestly.
Yeah,
because,
I was gonna say that would be great. Like Worldbuilders is your charity, and it's kind of Worldbuilders is a conduit to all sorts of different awesomeness and an excellent kind of place to get everything started. But Worldbuilders right now is working a lot with Heifer International. So how about a little bit about that? And most importantly, there's a lot of charities out there. What made you pick that one?
Yo, you are, bless you for that wonderful softball. You just love me. Because here's the thing. I did that fundraiser way back in the day, and it started with like me dinking around on my blog, and then suddenly one of the things I said is, hey, if you donate, I don't know, I'll give away some signed books or whatever. And then just like everybody stomps out, and I've been published a year, and all these other authors are like, hey, I got books, I can sign them. Do you want to give away my book? And like everyone kind of, it just sort of cohered, like Coral. That's a bad example. Coral takes hundreds of years. But I haven't finished my coffee yet today. So
just fine.
But a bunch of other people came in and they're like, hey, I'll give away this. I'll give away this. And at the end, of course, like the pinnacle of that first year was Neil Gaiman saying, hey, this Pat Rothfuss kid is doing some cool charity thing if anyone wants to go over there and look. And he sent us this beautiful, like limited, like numbered, slip-cased ARC of Stardust. An ARC, for those of you that aren't in publishing, it's an advanced reader copy. And normally it's what you send out to get reviews. But this was like, because it's Neil Gaiman, his ARC is fancy. And this was like in a slip case, and it was for a cool version that was coming out. And it was signed by him, and it was one of 150 numbered, very limited edition, and he gave it to us. And so like that's why things really took off at the end. And afterwards, people came up to me and they're like, so, when I would do interviews, they would say, why do you think, you did this charity thing, even though you obviously don't know what you're doing? And they said, and I'm like, well, I think that geeks want to make the world a better place. I think, and I'm like, here's my tinfoil hat theory. It's the fact that, if you read fantasy, the statistics show people that read fantasy, they read at a higher grade level than almost any other genre. That means by certain metrics, you tend to be pretty intelligent. Also, they've shown that
That's you, chat. He's talking about you.
That's right, all you folks. And I'm like, also, I think that they've shown scientifically the only way to improve a person's empathy is through reading fiction. There's no other way to actually, that they've proven increases a human's empathy. And so that means people who read a lot tend to be more empathetic. And the third thing, the hat trick here, is that geeks tend to be systems manipulators. Like we want to game a system. And so when I showed off a really good charity, the geeks are like, oh man, there are problems in the world and I'd love to help. But like, hey, I've been on the internet. Everyone's a liar. It's like I've read the news. Sometimes what you think is a good charity, they've got a skeleton in the closet, or maybe they're not as efficient as you believed. And it's sort of like the community. I've heard a lot of people say, yeah, I used to do charity, but Pat, I've been hurt. You know, I've been hurt in the past by a bad charity. How can I trust again? And I realized that, you know, once I kind of vouched for Heifer and I talked about what they really did, then um, then people are like, okay, I guess I can trust them. And so over the years, Heifer has occasionally partnered up with other charities, which we vet really extensively. Um, because, like I used to love United Way. And then I found out like maybe, and I'm sorry if anyone here is back to, I'm not talking shit. Any charity is better than no charity, right? But United Way has some problems with efficiency. I used to back like Salvation Army like nobody's business, and it's like, oh no, they got some real problems with how they treat marginalized communities. Like that's not great. Or even like some of the ones with like, and again, I'm not here to start beef with all the other charities.
I mean, no, this stuff is kind of important to know, and especially like about the efficiency thing. If you only have a limited amount to give, it's important that you know that limited amount is going to the right place. That it's not like, yeah, I'm going to give you $100 and 40 of it's going to getting the stuff there, 10's going to running the charity, 20 more is going to that, and then all of a sudden that $100 you gave is getting like $30 to where you tried to get it to. So, stuff's important to know.
And that's exactly it, because, and again, geeks are smart, and I think that makes them better people. Hey, and I'm not just saying this. I think there's a group of, the way I think of geek is different too. I think of geek not as like, oh, you like comic books, the sort of classic cultural sense. A geek is somebody who loves something beyond what is rational.
Overly passionate.
Yes. And I wouldn't even argue overly, although occasionally we do have that tendency.
Above averagely passionate.
There's my t-shirt. I want to do that t-shirt. But
by the way, we just passed 35K, guys. Just absolutely incredible. Everybody, thank you so much. Before we end this stream, I will read off every single name and tip that is coming in while I'm talking to Pat here. So guys, thank you so much again. Cohh.tv/donate. We've got about 20 minutes left in the stream. Anything you can give is appreciated, from $1 to anything. So thank you guys so much for this. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Pat. Please, please continue.
But I think people who, if you're a geek for anything, and you can be a geek for model trains or babies or stamp collecting or comic books, and I think somebody who is above and beyond passionate about anything has more in common with any other geek than they do. They have a certain something in common with them, a certain piece of their personality that's hard for somebody who is not nuts about something to understand or like kind of appreciate. And so, I think people who are able to sort of
guys,
feel
he meant raising kids. Someone in my chat says, please don't collect babies. He doesn't mean collecting babies. He means raising children, like parents.
Enthusiasm. Like one of the coolest person I ever met was my midwife who delivered my kids. And like, I met her and I'm like, you're amazing. You're a geek for babies. You're a geek for all the baby lore. Like, please tell me everything you know. Anyway, to jump to the end, I think that's why a lot of these charities started by good-hearted geeks, or you see somebody who's like a YA author and they're like, I'm really pissed about this. And then suddenly they've raised $1 million for a cause. It's for all these different factors. That's what was going on here. But the big one is, if you're smart enough, you realize that you realize that all charities aren't equal. And if you're smart enough, you realize that to do appropriate research, you're like, boy, I want to make the world a better place. How about I spend 6 hours really digging down into the quantum physics of every charity. And that's the thought is exhausting. So World Builders, that's one of the things we do. We vet it. That we actually have a subcommittee of our board that vets new potential partnership charities. And but you know the gold star one that we have backed from the beginning is Heifer. So you want me to talk a little bit about Heifer specifically?
Oh, please do. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to take a big drink of coffee.
Oh, for sure. While we're doing that, some big ones here. Thank you to Hannah, $172. Can't get a goat. Can't get a goat for our place just yet. So here's one for you. 122 from William. Goats are good. Goats are great. Thank you for that. $404 donation not found. The first time I did this, you thought it was funny, so I did it again. Dude, incredible. Auntie with the 510 from Sansom 22, first more cowbell, and 510 is 433 more than 77. Plus, assuming this works as well as it should, can I get matched by my company? Maybe. Yes, you'll be getting. Okay, this goes for all of you guys. You'll be getting an email from World Builders. There's a chance that the company you work at may match your donation. So they have like a little catalog you can look through. You can see if it's there. And if they can, you may be working for somebody who will match. So thank you for pointing that out. $535 from an anonymous donor. Somebody who's not even giving their name. Incredible. Might as well just push a bit further past that 35, dude. Thank you so much. 275 from Scott. Thank you, Scott. Just incredible. And again, I'll be going over every single name when we're wrapped up with Pat. But on that note, Pat, tell us about Heifer.
So Heifer. Watch me load it into active memory here in my little
the
my
RAM
little
is still
spinning.
adjusting. 36K. Thank you.
Yeah, you're at 30. I mean, I gotta say, just personally, this was a nice way to wake up today and peek onto the fundraiser. I'm like, oh man, they're killing it.
Very proud of these guys.
So, Heifer International. Let me start this story like I start all my stories. In the beginning of time, back when the Earth was first cooling,
there was Heifer International.
It was actually 75 years ago. There was a dairy farmer during the Great Depression, and he there was a line of kids who were hungry because people didn't have work, they didn't have money, they didn't have food, and so this dairy farmer was bringing milk. So all these kids were in a line, and they had a little cup, and he would give them a cup of milk so that these kids could have milk. And he's sitting there, doing what he can in a bad time. And he said he had a realization. He goes, these kids don't need a cup, they need a cow. And that's where Heifer started. And so when I grew up, my exposure to some of these charities was I would be up late watching Star Trek, the old Star Trek, because that was the only one there was. And whatever network that was on, they would sell that cheap ad space to charities. And it would come on and it would say, and it would show this miserable, like starving child. And it would say, for the price of a cup of coffee, you could keep this child from starving. And I'd be like, oh, God, I'm awful. God, I am awful. Everything's awful. And even if I had the price of a cup of coffee every day, because I was just a teenager, I'm like, do I give this money to this kid every day? And if I ever stop, they start starving again? Like, the thought was, it was just misery. And the option presented to me to help was like a shackle. And I'm like, am I gonna adopt a kid? And if I forget to mail a check, they're hungry for a week? Like, is this my only way? Fast forward 20 years, and I find out about Heifer International. And I was thinking in terms of like, oh, well, if someone's hungry, like you huck a bag of rice at them and they're like, yay, problem solved, except not, obviously. 3 days later, they're hungry again. You didn't fix anything. But what Heifer does is they go in and they give people the tools, training, and the education to have what's referred to as food sustainability. It's a form of self-reliance where you are able to control where your family's food is coming from. And this is something it's such a foreign concept for most people who have the ability to watch a stream on a computer. It's just baffling. There are places called food deserts where like you kind of don't have the ability to buy food. And actually they're increasingly prevalent in America. Like as little local grocery stores go out of business, even here in America, people are losing access to like be able to go actually buy food that isn't like fast food or packaged food. But this is a problem all over the world. At least if you can buy something you can eat. But in a lot of parts of the world, there's no place to buy food. And if there was, you don't have any money. So what Heifer does is they come in and they figured out some amazing technology. It's called a chicken. Um, and spoiler alert, chickens lay eggs. And the pro strats are that you eat the egg, and then it has protein in it, and then you are alive. I'm sorry for anyone who hasn't played that particular game. That I kind of
little bit of spoilers there, Pat. If we could kind of like,
I should have really warned
gaming
people.
Channel, yeah.
But like, I mean, I say it and everyone's like, oh yeah, because like chickens have eggs and then eggs turn into more chickens. But Heifer goes in and they train people how to take care of them. And then they give them chickens. And then those chickens have eggs. The eggs, they can turn into more chickens. And then suddenly they have a lot of chickens. And that means they get to eat eggs every day. That means the extra eggs they sell for money. That means they have an income stream they can use to buy things like medicine or clothes or like blankets, or they can send their kids to school. And so it's like giving somebody a small business that gives birth to small businesses and also feeds them every day. And it's not just chickens. Obviously, they do this with goats. Like if you give a family a goat produces about a gallon of milk a day. And so like the children in that family get access to calcium and a lot of protein in that milk. It's very nutritious, goat milk especially. And then they sell the extra milk. And then they have an income stream. And then that goat have babies. And that's P.S. That's what the whole milk is about too. Also, of course, the baby goat gets milk too, but goats are designed to do more milk than that baby needs. So suddenly again, you have goats and you have more goats and more milk and income. And then Heifer also works with those people to say, you could take some of that money and maybe buy, better tools to tend your garden patch or something like that. But that's not even a tiny percent of what Heifer really does. Because a lot of folks go to Heifer and they're like, hey, we hear you're the goat people. We're hungry. Give us those goats. We're going to eat that goat. And what makes Heifer really A+ is that Heifer's like, cool, let's talk. They go in, they learn the culture, they learn the local ecology, they learn the biome, and then they're like, hey, we've kind of checked everything out around here, and we know you want goats, but actually everyone here spends most of their year eating out of their big garden plot. And you're dealing with a lot of soil erosion, and the hooves of goats are actually going to like promote soil erosion. That's no good. But what we'd love to do is give you guys fruit trees and nut trees, and that will prevent soil erosion. And then you have fruits and nuts, which are really nutritionally dense. There's a lot of nutritional diversity there. Also, it provides shade, and which may not seem like a big deal unless you realize that shade actually reduces the amount you need to irrigate that garden patch. And when I say garden, some of these gardens are like half an acre, because this is where you eat out of your whole life. Your whole family eats out of there. And so suddenly this family can sell fruits and nuts. There's less soil erosion. They have to irrigate less. And then Heifer's like, also, how about honeybees? And then they have wax and they have honey, other cash crops. Also, and then suddenly their garden is producing at like 300% what it was before. Usually enough food to feed everyone much better and more consistently. And then also they can sell the extra food out of their garden. They can sell the fruits and nuts. Even chickens, if you let them go in a garden plot, they eat bugs. They scratch and pick and like aerate the soil, and the chicken crap is fertilizer.
Yep.
It's like for gamers. I think that's why gamers, once they hear about it, they're like, well, why wouldn't I put the hive of bees right next to my garden?
I know, right?
It's plus 200% garden efficiency. This is what Heifer does. And so like $30 is a hive of bees for someone in the world. And also think about this person's neighbors. This person's neighbors, they benefit from the bees too. This person's neighbors, they get to buy readily available eggs or milk or honey or fruit. And that is fresher, and they don't have to walk an hour to get it. And it's probably cheaper than what they can get somewhere else. And Heifer works with an entire community. So they don't just give a person a goat off in the middle of nowhere. They give a community goats, and then they make sure someone in that community can be a goat doctor. So if the goat gets sick, somebody can fix it. And then once they do that with 4 towns, they go to the 5th town and they're like, give me them goats. And we're like, actually, how'd you like to start a dairy? Because everybody has a lot of extra milk. And this would create jobs in industry and help ship milk all over the place. They do so much. They work with cocoa farmers to like improve their farming techniques and get more money trading with ethical, like chocolate makers. They provide clean water all over the world. They go into communities that are already doing farming and teach them about biogas digesters, where you take all that animal crap and you put it in. The technology is effectively cement and pipes, and all that poop, it just bubble, and then the methane comes out, and then people can cook with it or use it to light their homes. And this might not seem a big deal to you because you have electricity coming into your house, but 60% of the world eats its evening meal cooked over an open fire, like an open fire. 60% of the world. And that means a lot of times it leads to deforestation. It, like those people in the house, they have to breathe that smoke. Children get hurt and burned. But it's either that or don't cook your dinner.
Yeah.
And that also means those children, a lot of times they have to walk for hours to find wood or cut down trees. And so suddenly you take animal crap, you turn it into fuel, the air is cleaner, people are healthier, and the children get 3 hours free. And
That's
so
like
they can
a win
go to
on
school.
every front. Yeah.
You know, it's like Heifer is literally doing magic here. They're turning animal crap into better fertilizer and fuel. It's stunning. And I haven't even touched on a third of what they do. So that's what Heifer International is. $120 is enough for a goat. $250 is a well, clean water for a village, so everyone there doesn't have to go other places. Better irrigation, better sanitation, better access to clean water. Again, something that I guarantee almost everybody here, unless you live in Flint, has access to. You go downstairs and you just drink it right out of the tap. It's as clean as anything. There's a lot of families that have to walk a couple of hours and bring back and carry gallons of water, and then it's not great water. You got to, okay. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. That's great. And yeah, I mean, the good thing about Flint though is they get the methane through the pipes too. Same as the water. But anyway, so just a quick, I've seen a lot of people just tuning in. This is Patrick Rothfuss, Name of the Wind, as many and other books as well. He does a lot of streaming on Twitch. Does a huge amount of fundraising, and we're here today with his charity, Worldbuilders. What Pat is talking about right now is the charity that Worldbuilders works closely with, Heifer International. We're doing a charity stream for another 4 minutes, where you guys can donate at cohh.tv/donate. We have raised an incredible amount of money today, and I just want to thank you guys so much for it. So just as Pat has been talking about, um, every single dollar that goes into this can make a huge difference. This is by no means a band-aid charity. This is a charity that is there to try to break the cycle. It is not just for a quick fix to a bad situation. It is to change the situation fundamentally into something different in some pretty incredible and amazing ways. So I want to thank everybody who's been donating today. It's been incredible. We're currently sitting at oh man, I can't even see it right now. $37,500. An incredible amount we have raised. Just amazing. But
Can I make one final pitch here?
Please.
Because there's one more thing I'm going to say about Heifer, and then I want to hopefully seal the deal with the information about Worldbuilders. So the big thing that Heifer does that really sets it above and beyond a lot of other smart charities that produce good results in the world and will help people in sustainable ways is that Heifer goes in and teaches people and then says, hey, we're going to help you out. And then eventually in the future, you're going to help somebody else. It's called passing on the gift. And so somebody who gets chickens and then chickens do eggs make more chickens. And then they have a lot of chickens and they go from being like a lot of people having to beg or really wonder where their next meal is coming from to they are prosperous. They're a small business owner. They have food and they can sell eggs. A lot of times they then diversify their farming so that, they have other animals under Heifer's sort of guidance. And then what they do is they go to a different neighbor and they're like, hey, you want to learn about chickens? And then they teach their neighbor about chickens and then they give their neighbor chickens. And there's parts of the world where this has happened dozens of times because everyone who gets taught agrees to go on and teach somebody else. And that is ultimately what seals the deal for me for Heifer, because there's a lot of great charities, but Heifer, it's like an avalanche of good moving endlessly into the future. And if you doubt that analogy, let me tell you, way back in the day, because Heifer's been doing this forever, they went into South Korea after the Korean War. Actually, all of Korea. They went in and they're like, boy, this entire country is just a smoking crater. Everything sucks. How can we help? And they're like, well, a lot of families, it's small areas and, chickens. We'll help with chickens. And today it's estimated that 80% of the chickens in Korea are descended from Heifer International chickens. So if you want to make a change in the world, right? If you're like me and you're like, God, 2020 is a garbage fire on top of a tire fire. And I feel bad
great.
and I feel bad every day. And I cannot hug the people that I love, or someone might die. And there is fascism and climate change, and everything is so big and everything is so bad. How do I get out of bed? How do I make it through the day? And you're like, I can't fix these things. They're so big. What I'm saying to you is, if you're bothered by that and if you wish you could help and make the world a better place, if you kick some money into this fundraiser, $30, it's a hive of bees, $20 for chickens, $60 tree seedlings, like $500 gets biogas stoves for an entire little town. And that doesn't stop. That's not a temporary fix. A family's life will be better forever, and then other families will also benefit forever. And that's what I'm offering here. That's why people come back to Worldbuilders. I've had people say every year, they say, I've never done a charity before. I donated money, and I know that people get to have control of their lives now. I did something good today. I've never felt so good before. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I do this. If you want to feel like you're helping change the world, come along with us and help us change the world, because you can't fix everything, so you can only do what you can do. And so also, because it's nice to maybe get something for your trouble as well, for every $10 you're donating, you get a chance to win like over $100,000 worth of books and games that like publishers and game designers and everything have been donating to World Builders. There's like literally thousands of books and games and other cool geeky stuff. Um, uh, and Including 3 wormwood tables that are customizable. You can win for every $10 you kick in, you get a chance to win all this stuff, 3 wormwood tables that you can customize and redesign to the size, shape, wood, type, color of felt. And you can build the table that lives in your heart, the table of your dreams. You get a chance of winning that because all these cool, geeky businesses want to do good in the world too, and they want to reward you for being generous. So come in, change people's lives forever. You make it so a child wakes up in the morning and they know they get to eat food every day. They never have to be afraid about that again. And those parents get to go to sleep every night, not being scared and not having to be afraid that they won't know how they will be able to feed their child. You can fix that forever and win cool shit and feel good. And that's what I got. Come on in, and we'd love to have you.
Well, I don't think I could have said that a word better. Clap, chat. That was phenomenal. Dude, Pat, thank you so much for your time today. This has been incredible. We raised total for this charity, and it's still coming in, but for our block here, $41,069 nice dollars. Fantastic work, chat. Now, as a reminder, because of we just had a $1,500 donation come in. $42,000, $42,700. My lord. Gioria, thank you so much. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, Patrick, thank you so much for everything. This has been amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Time. Thank you for putting together World Builders. This is not the last time that you will see me work with World Builders. This is the beginning of maybe even a yearly event, maybe even more than that. We'll see what we can do.
I tell you, I'd love to see that. And again, thank you, Cohh, so much. You are just one of my favorite people, and you coming in to help. It warms my dark old heart.
Oh, well, we really appreciate it, man. Thank you for everything you do. For now, what we're going to do is we are going to wish Mr. Pat a fantastic day, an excellent rest of it. Then I'm going to read off all the names. When those names are complete, this charity stream is officially over. Now, again, I want to thank all of you, because thanks to the people who donated, I'm putting my money where my mouth is with this donation stuff. I will be matching the first $25,000 to the charity. I'm going to be doing that myself. We're going to put that in right at the end of the stream, and it's going to bring our total for our charity event to a pretty great number. So I want to thank all of you guys for that. It's because of you this is all happening. And Pat, thanks for being here, man.
I had no idea you were doing that. That's so above and beyond.
It's a great cause, man. I want to be a part of this too.
I gotta say, I hope you know it. I've said it, like, you ever need me for anything, I'm yours. You got my sword.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. It was a pleasure, man.
Talk to you later.
You have a great rest of your day. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.